New at 5:30, protesters plan to take their call for Congressman Kevin McCarthy to hold a town hall to face constituents right to his doorstep.
17's Danny Freeman joining us live from where they are gathering tonight to march. Danny, what can you tell us?
Hey, Jim, that's right. We're out here in Bakersfield, and we're hoping to see a number of protesters come out tonight to protest Kevin McCarthy. But we actually ran into a number of pro-Trump, pro-McCarthy protesters right here. That's a bit of a surprise, but we'll bring you more of both in just a moment. Now, what was planned is that local groups and constituents plan to gather in Representative McCarthy's neighborhood tonight to hold what was they called an emergency march and candlelight vigil at his home. Now, the focus by those groups, such as local SEIU chapters, the United Farm Workers Foundation, the Dolores Huerta Foundation, and more, is to continue to pressure McCarthy to hold a town hall to discuss hot-button issues such as health care and immigration. Now, McCarthy stated emphatically Wednesday that he would not hold a town hall this week while on his congressional recess, and told a local talk radio station he's happy to discuss issues such as health care, but is not interested in, quote, having something where people are just going to yell back and forth with one another. Now, one demonstrator we spoke with and constituent of McCarthy's said, "We wish he did not have to protest, but feels he had no choice."
We shouldn't have to come out and march with signs and yell and scream and have all of these rallies, that he should be more open to just coming out and talking to the people. I wouldn't want a lot of people marching up to my home, but I do pay his salary. We're not carrying pitchforks and stakes. We just want to talk to the guy.
Now, McCarthy also told local talk radio that protesters often come to his house, and that while that's their right, he added when people are bussed in from out of state, that, quote, goes too far. Now, as of now, the protests we've seen are largely pro-Trump and pro-McCarthy, and we're hoping to catch up, as I said, with some of those protesters later. But we also asked if Congressman McCarthy would come with an interview with us today, and again, he said he was unavailable. And just a quick update on that, Variety magazine is reporting that one of the reasons perhaps McCarthy was unavailable is because he's in Los Angeles today having a forum and meeting with CAA, the artist organization. So we'll give more on that later on in the evening. Now, one last thing is that out of concern for the congressman's safety, KGET has chosen not to disclose his address or neighborhood, and we do not plan to cover the protest on the street unless something more serious breaks out. Live in Bakersfield, Danny Freeman, 17 News.
Protesters took their call for Congressman Kevin McCarthy to hold a town hall meeting to the steps of the House Majority Leader's home this evening, but they were greeted by counter-protesters. 17's Danny Freeman has the story.
As protesters gathered to march to Congressman McCarthy's house, a counter-protest of McCarthy and President Trump supporters were mobilizing as well.
If you turned your clock news on tonight and all you saw was them, the impression people would get from home was that this is the way the majority of Bakersfield feels, and that's not the case.
The goal? To protect McCarthy's home.
If need be, we will surround McCarthy's home and keep them from vandalizing it if they're doing that.
Organizers from the original Have You Seen My Congressperson vigil said from the start they planned for their march to be peaceful.
The plan has been to come here and to go to the neighborhood and to lift up. If we're not able to get a town hall meeting with you, Congressman McCarthy, then we're going to come to you in a peaceful, nonviolent way, of course.
The result? A tale of two protests. One with candles and signs.
I think what we're trying to do is just get noticed.
The other with choppers and flags.
This isn't like a typical Thursday night for us. We don't just go stand in front of the congressman's house on Thursdays.
The pro-town hall marchers of union members and faith leaders headed into McCarthy's neighborhood, and the pro-McCarthy group of veterans and Trump supporters stood guard in front of McCarthy's house. Yet, as the two crossed paths, both groups kept to their word. Save a few quips, a peaceful statement from each side. No yelling, no screaming, and a feeling of accomplishment on both sides of the sidewalk. Danny Freeman, 17 News.
And Kevin McCarthy's office tells us the congressman spent part of the day in Los Angeles at the Creative Artists Agency for a nonpartisan political summit.
A protest planned in just minutes calling for local Congressman and House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy to hear concerns over health care and immigration. Protesters hitting the streets of Southwest Bakersfield planning to head to McCarthy's home. We have 23 ABC team coverage of that protest and apparent counter-protest tonight. Laura Acevedo waiting for those protesters at the Town and Country Village. But first, we'll turn things over to Andrew Worth, who talked to veterans who now want to stop this march. Andrew.
Yeah, Tim, you can see just behind me several veterans already gathering, waving their flags here because they caught wind of that protest starting just down the street. But they say that they're here to oppose those protesters because of what it stands for. In speaking with some of them, they say they feel it's just plain wrong and against the family's privacy to stage a march like this. Bakersfield State Senator Shannon Grove agrees. She took to social media today calling it unacceptable to march to McCarthy's private home. Now, a short while ago, I did stop by McCarthy's house where protesters say they are heading. And when I got there, a home security system was actually being installed. When I spoke with a family member, they said they've been planning to have a system installed for a while, and they were just finally able to get around to it today. But they also mentioned the last time a protest like this happened, the family's truck was vandalized, and so now having this security system makes them feel safer in case something actually does happen.
I didn't even vote for him, but I don't support anybody going and marching on our congressman's home. That's not how we do things here in America. I'm not sure how they do things where they're from, but here in America we don't do it like that.
The McCarthy family and veterans out here are hoping for everything to stay peaceful, and that's what they're planning for, seeing no need for any sort of violence or anything to erupt. And as I said, just a few of them gathering here. Most of them are still getting off of work, still hearing about this, still really just getting the word out there to anybody else. But this group should be a lot bigger. And again, peaceful is the main word that they stressed, and they said that no confrontation at all. They just want to make sure that people know that this is an invasion of privacy. In Southwest Bakersfield, Andrew Worth, 23 ABC.
Okay, Andrew, thanks. Worth mentioning, we did reach out to Bakersfield Police. They are aware of that counter-protest. We'll turn things over now to Laura Acevedo, who is live at that shopping center on Stockdale Highway. Laura, these protesters really hoping that Congressman McCarthy holds a town hall meeting discussing those issues that are important to them.
Yeah, Tim, and that's exactly what these protesters are asking for. They are holding this protest and this march over to McCarthy's house because they say they don't have access to their congressman and that he is not representing their views and their needs. They say they want health care and immigration reform, and they are protesting in hopes of getting his attention and having him meet with them. So that protest is going to take off right here behind the CVS in the parking lot on Gosford and Stockdale, and they will be marching towards McCarthy's neighborhood. We will have live coverage of that on our website and as well on our Facebook page. Reporting live in Southwest Bakersfield, Laura Acevedo, 23 ABC.
Breaking news tonight out of Southwest Bakersfield, where a group of protesters have gathered to march to Congressman Kevin McCarthy's home. Now a second group has gathered to stop them. Good evening, I'm Tim Callahan.
And I'm Jackie Ochoa. Protesters demanding action from House Majority Leader and Bakersfield native tonight on issues like immigration and health care.
And we have live team coverage of those two demonstrations. We'll begin with 23 ABC's Laura Acevedo in Southwest Bakersfield. Laura, where we see a group of protesters gathering tonight, that group growing right now. How many people do you estimate are out there?
Yeah, Tim, right now there are about 50 people, and they are actually just getting started. If you take a look behind me, they are gathered here as the speaker is telling them what they are going to do, and they are protesting immigration and health care. They want Kevin McCarthy to hear their pleas for what they are asking for. They are asking for a town hall meeting, and so far, from what we've heard, they have not gotten that wish. So they are going to protest over to Kevin McCarthy's neighborhood in hopes that this will get his attention, and so he can hear what it is that they have to say. They have signs out here, they have flags, and they are also concerned about the protesters that are about half a mile from where we are. They say that they have heard that they will not be allowed through into the neighborhood. They are insisting they are going to remain peaceful, but that is what we will have to see right now. I will be Facebook Living this march as it gets started. They are about to get started in about a few minutes, so we will Facebook Live it and also have it on our website. I will send it back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, Laura, thank you for that. We'll turn things over to Andrew Worth. He's at that second demonstration where we heard from Laura. Andrew, they're planning to stop those group of protesters?
Yeah, that's what they were saying. They're not really doing anything, obviously, physically, not anything violent or anything like that, but really they're just wanting to make sure that things don't happen, because the last time one of these did happen, McCarthy's truck was actually vandalized. So you can see behind me here that there are several motorcycles parked outside of the residence, just making sure that when they do come by here, if they're still planning to come by here, that nothing happens, the home stays safe, nobody tries to do anything to the home, the yard, anything, really just trying to keep it safe. So like I said, they're not planning to do anything violent. They're not hoping to do it, or they're not foreseeing anything to outbreak. But again, those two parties, one for, one against, we really can't tell you what's going to happen. As you saw just now, Laura on the other end. So we'll keep you up to date on what's really going on here, and if anything does happen. Again, not foreseeing anything happening, but live from Southwest Bakersfield, Andrew Worth, 23 ABC.
Protesters gathering in Southwest Bakersfield tonight demanding Congressman Kevin McCarthy take action on health care and immigration issues. We have 23 ABC's Laura Acevedo at that march tonight, which will end at McCarthy's home. And Laura, are we seeing any police presence out there?
Yeah, Jackie, and we are walking with those protesters right now, and we are heading to the location, which is right outside Kevin McCarthy's neighborhood, and that's when they are set to have a program, and then they're going to do a silent walk through his neighborhood. I have somebody joining me here now, Bethany, who is walking with me. Bethany, can you tell me why you came out here?
I came out here to basically promote bringing humanity back to America. I came to ask McCarthy to listen to us in the issues of immigration, in the issues of affordable care, in all the issues that we have. We're asking to be heard, and he won't speak with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. So what Bethany just said echoes what a lot of people here have told me. They just want to be heard when it comes to issues of immigration and healthcare. So we are going to get ready to hear their program. They're going to have a few speakers, and then they're going to be heading over to walk silently through Kevin McCarthy's neighborhood right in front of his house. I will send it back to you guys in the studio.
Protesters gathering in Southwest Bakersfield, marching to Congressman Kevin McCarthy's house to bring attention to health care and immigration issues. That march began at the parking lot on Stockdale Highway and Gosford Road, went down to McCarthy's home in a nearby neighborhood. Some speaking out against that march, saying even though demonstrators may disagree with McCarthy, they shouldn't visit his home. Former representative of the 34th District in the California State Assembly taking to Facebook tonight, writing, "Going to my congressman's home where his family is unacceptable." Local veterans held a counter-protest in the area with the intention to block protesters from reaching McCarthy's home.
I didn't even vote for him, but I don't support anybody going and marching on our congressman's home. That's not how we do things here in America. I'm not sure how they do things where they're from, but here in America we don't do it like that.
You know, I've been to his office here. The doors are locked. Been to his Sacramento office. The doors aren't locked there, but his staff isn't very friendly, and no contact with him. He doesn't return phone calls. He doesn't come when we ask him to come to town hall meetings and discuss this. He doesn't do it. He goes to fundraising meetings where $10,000 you can sit next to him, and that's pretty sad because he's supposed to represent us.
Some community members are hoping to get Congressman Kevin McCarthy's attention tonight by holding a march to his house.
Eyewitness News reporter Hannah Batal tells us why they may be met with some resistance. Hannah?
Dave and Rochelle, we're live here at the intersection of Kroll Way and Gosford Road, where in about 20 minutes, marchers will be making the way through the streets into this neighborhood you see here behind me. And this is the neighborhood that Kevin McCarthy lives in. And they say the message that they want to spread is about two major issues before Congress and the White House. Now, that's about immigration and health care. But if you look behind me, you'll see that the protesters tonight will not be met without some resistance. And this is a group here of veterans that say this conversation about immigration and healthcare has tainted the ability to have that same conversation for veterans here in the United States. Now, this is a group of all local veterans that say that they plan to get in front of tonight's march as they head to Kevin McCarthy's house. They say they want to get in front of them and spread a message that pertains to their group specifically. Now, all of this comes on the heels of a protest earlier this week where marchers were hitting the streets before the GOP dinner. At that protest, people told me they've called Kevin McCarthy, who has been a close advisor to President Donald Trump, and have yet to get a response. Now, I have asked Kevin McCarthy's office for comment regarding these events earlier this week and have yet to hear back. Today, one of his staff members told me the congressman is in his district this week, but has no scheduled public events. Now, at a similar protest, a similar vigil rather, weeks ago, these types of protesters told me that they are calling Trump's executive orders pertaining to immigration an assault on immigrants everywhere. And they say they want to make sure that they get that face-to-face time with their representative so that they can hopefully influence some of this policy we're seeing coming out of Washington, D.C. And now all of these groups here say that they want to have a peaceful march and have that discussion and just initiate the conversation within our community. And we're going to go live again here from this march that's supposed to begin in about 20, maybe 15 minutes. And we'll have the latest on that coming up on Eyewitness News at 6. For now, reporting live in Southwest Bakersfield, Hannah Batah, Eyewitness News.
All right, Hannah, thank you for that.
Frustrated constituents are marching across California, hoping to coax representatives into making an appearance at town hall meetings.
Several GOP leaders have declined to show up to those meetings, including Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Right now, local community members are marching to his house here in Bakersfield demanding answers. Eyewitness News reporter Hannah Batah is at the march to tell us how that's going. Hannah?
Dave and Rochelle, you say demanding answers. That's exactly what this group behind me here is doing now. Many of the people you see here were at the protest on Tuesday that we were live at that was held during the GOP dinner fundraiser. They say they've called Kevin McCarthy's office several times. They've protested. Now they are taking on a march to his house, and that's where we are. It started at that El Pollo Loco right off of Gosford Road, and we are marching to Kevin McCarthy's neighborhood in Southwest Bakersfield as they try to spread their message and get some attention from the congressman himself. Now, I'm joined here by one of the organizers of tonight's protest, representing a group. Joey, thank you for talking to us. Could you tell us a little bit about the message you want to spread tonight?
Well, right now in our country and even here in our county, we're facing some very, very tough challenges with the repeal of ACA and also the separation of our families due to these executive orders and the failure on the part of the congressman to act and to bring a real pathway to citizenship for our families. Right now, what we see happening is that our families are being ripped apart as they were under the Obama administration, but we see a continuance of that. And also, it is immoral for us to give life-sustaining health care to people and rip it away with no plan to repeal it. With a repeal with no plan to replace it. So we've come together as one people here tonight across many different, the faith community, labor, and other allies to come to to Kevin McCarthy's neighborhood and let him know that this is not moral, this is not right, and what we ask for him is to meet with us and to take drastic legislation and leadership and to protect our health care and to make sure that we keep families together. And that is our message tonight. We are here in peaceful, nonviolent protest. That is our message. We come as family members, we come as clergy, we come as organizers, we come as teachers, we come from all walks of life with a peaceful message, asking our congressman to do the right thing, meet with us, and to do the right thing in Congress, take real leadership, move to protect our families with a pathway to citizenship, and do not repeal ACA, life-giving, sustaining health care with no plan to replace it.
All right, Joey, thank you so much. We're going to branch off a little bit and let you guys continue marching. Now, in the meantime, if you were watching at 5, you saw that there was another group counter-marching this march, if you will, and they said that they plan to be at Kevin McCarthy's house before this group that you see here behind me makes it there. They said they want to ensure that no violence happens, there is no littering, there is no vandalism to Kevin McCarthy's house or the people inside. We're told Kevin McCarthy's wife is there at the home right now. She has spoken to reporters, but yes, we have reached out to Kevin McCarthy multiple times this week. He has declined an interview. We have yet to hear back from his people, but we know he will be here in his district throughout the week. And when these two groups converge, they say both sides say they want a peaceful night, and both say they do want the congressman to hold a town hall. Now, if this will get his attention, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, reporting live in downtown Bakersfield, or in Southwest Bakersfield rather, Hannah Batah, Eyewitness News.
All right, Hannah, thank you for that report. Congressman Kevin McCarthy so far has also been one of several GOP leaders who has declined to show up at meetings and town halls.
So today, protesters marched in Bakersfield demanding why. The message of tonight's rally was about 2 major issues ahead of Congress and the White House. That's health care and immigration. The group marched to McCarthy's home. Another group formed in response and headed there as well, some saying they were worried about what the protesters would do.
When this is over with, we're going to go home. We're only here to prevent any kind of vandalism or violence from happening to the congressman's home. In regards to town hall meetings, I think all elected officials need to be meeting with their constituents and need to be doing town hall meetings with all of them.
We at Eyewitness News have asked McCarthy's office for comment regarding these events this week, but we have not heard back. Today, one of his staff members says the congressman is in his district this week, but has no scheduled public events.
Bienvenidos a esta edición nocturna de su noticiero Telemundo Valle Central. Con gusto les saluda Candy Cáceres. Esta noche se llevó a cabo una marcha y vigilia para pedirle al congresista local y líder de la mayoría en la Cámara de Representantes, Kevin McCarthy, que escuche las preocupaciones de sus constituyentes sobre el tema de inmigración y seguro de salud. A las 5:50 de la tarde, los residentes se reunieron en el centro comercial sobre la carretera Stockdale y la calle Coffee Road. De ahí, marcharon hasta la casa de McCarthy. La vigilia comenzó a eso de las 6:30 y fue parte de una campaña estatal pidiéndole a los congresistas que los escuchen y que el enfoque de los grupos como el sindicato SEIU y el sindicato de campesinos y la Fundación Dolores Huerta es continuar presionando a McCarthy para que hable, de acuerdo a estos grupos, de los temas que más le importan a la comunidad. McCarthy enfáticamente declaró que no llevará a cabo un foro comunitario y le dijo a una emisora de radio local que está dispuesto a discutir temas sobre el cuidado de salud en el futuro cercano.